Welcome everyone, both in person and in line. We want to thank our presenter today, Maria Dent Turner, for we'll be talking about career exploration in our career coaching series. Um, One announcement that we have here at the Hub is that the career coaching has opened now, and we will be sharing with you the QR code so you can start registering for it. Once again, it's completely free of charge and it's for anybody that is interested in a career in the IT field. We'll be starting shortly.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. As Eduardo introduced myself, I am Maria Dent Turner from Career Catchers, and I am a senior career coach with that organization. And we provide one-on-one coaching, individualized coaching. And in this particular forum, we're going to focus on careers in the IT field. We'll explore today some ways you can look at perhaps careers in IT or other industries that you may have not considered. I'm going to show you some resources that you can connect with to help you with that. There's an assessment we're going to do today, quick assessment, and so we'll see what some of your interest tells you you could do or in a career. So this is your career, explore and plan. Good afternoon. So moving along. So look at this statement. What do you think it means? Just think about it. He who fails to plan is planning to fail. And this is something that was coined by Winston Churchill. We use this phrase a lot and have used it a lot. What do you think it means? Think about it. He who fails to plan is planning to fail. Anyone want to venture a guess? Yes, ma'am. No worries. Plan, did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I was just going to say something I found that when I had to make plans, that somehow or the other it didn't work.
And I hope everyone was able to hear that. But sometimes when you're not putting the effort into what it is you're hoping to achieve, then as our guest said, it may not always work out, you know? And so if you're planning a career, something that you're going to do with your life, people put a lot of effort into planning parties, planning vacations, buying a home, but people sometimes don't put that same amount of effort into planning their career. So that's why we wanted people to look at this process and take it a little bit more seriously so that you can make an informed decision. So I'm hoping that you'll leave today. You'll see the value of career exploration in the process. You'll learn to use career exploration tools, and you'll develop a vision for your career path and your future. Okay, so that's what we're hoping your takeaway is. So the next slide will show us the introduction. This workshop is intended to empower you to personally take ownership of your life's direction. Take the first step. Turn your future dreams into a reality by visualizing and manifesting them through this process. So if you don't mind, I'm going to use my cheat sheet throughout this workshop because I have a few statistics and things. So next slide. So one of my cheat sheet quotes, not this one in particular, according to the Pepperdine Seaver College, career exploration has 4 steps in the process: engage in self-assessment, evaluate careers, do some research on those careers, and then gain some experience. This is what we're going to cover today. So here's another quote, and I love quotes. I love quotes. Why reinvent the wheel? If it's a perfect quote, use it. So do a job you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. And this is a quote by Confucius. What do you think about this? And if there's anybody in the room, Eduardo, you can type your responses in the chat. We like it to be interactive. That way, if I get, it's reciprocal. So if I know the kind of information you're looking for, I can supply that. So it's always great to get feedback, so I know that I'm going in the right direction. So do a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. So I'm gonna pick on you. Let's see if I can get you in the mic.
How you doing? I'm actually, and that's the reason why I'm here, because I'm actually doing a job that I don't quite love at the moment. And it's kind of feeling like, you know, when I go into work, it's kind of, you know, something that I'm not passionate about. So when I look at this quote, I do believe it true to my heart, that if you do something that your job is what you love, you don't feel like you're going to work every day. So that's how I definitely feel about that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Definitely. And I like this too, because when you get up every day and you are excited about going to work and you're excited about what you do, you're filled with energy and positivity and you're happy, right? I tell people, don't let the career choose you, you choose the career. So it starts with a lot of introspection. What am I doing? Do I like it? Would I do it for free? You know, if money was no object, would I do this for free? And a lot of times you can just give yourself an informal assessment, just as simple as, I also ask people, what did you like to do when you were a kid? When you were 10, what were you doing? Or what would you have liked to have done? You know, did you want to be a fireman? Did you want to be a, you know, an astronaut or a nurse or a doctor? What was it that you felt passionate about? Mine was animals. I wanted to be a vet. I didn't end up going to medical school, but I think I've owned every animal that is on the planet and my kids as well. And they have jobs working with animals. They're groomers and they've been grooming for about 20 years, you know, straight out of high school. And they love it, you know, and also just to, you know, just to remind you, there's a lot of things out there that you may not have considered. So that's why we want you just to take a look and, you know, consider what some of the career paths you can choose. So you can go to the next slide. Excuse me. So here we go. We got 2 people trying to figure out, where do I start? What's next? You know, so this is a good start. You're getting the information. Let's move through this and see what you know, or maybe what you don't know. But we're hoping that you'll get something to take away from this, that you'll be able to move into career exploration, research, and doing. You can move to the next slide. Thank you. So this is a, you know, a plan. So as I said, failing to plan is planning to fail. So if you know what you're trying to achieve, you should have some method to your madness, right? So sometimes people are like this gentleman said here, before he decided on going into IT, he got into a job and he was saying, this is not exactly what I like. It was okay when I started, but it's still not as fulfilling as it was when I first got started. Some people have the luxury to be able to sit back and say, what can I do with my life? And then some people have to get to work. As one of my clients said, her baby needs shoes, you know? So she gets the job that she needs at that time to fulfill her purpose. But if you know where you're trying to go, you can work towards that even while you're working in the current job you're in, right? Have aspirations. So you can start with an interest profiler. Some people say, well, I don't know what I want to do, but I know this isn't it, right? The interest profiler, and it takes only 5 minutes. We have the website, and I'm going to share that with you. And you can go to the website and take an interest profiler, and it'll help you to narrow down. Now, it may be some areas that you go, I don't want to do that, because I did one and it said I should have been a forest ranger. When I saw it, I was like, I'm not going to school for forestry, you know? But in retrospect, at the time when I took this, when I was in college, I didn't understand the results, but there's elements to each of the jobs that appeal to you. That's why it popped up. And I love the outdoors. I love animals. I love communing with nature. I hug trees, you know, I wave at clouds. I just love nature. So in that, it made sense now, but at the time it didn't. Then you want to understand, once you get your profiler results, you analyze what the results are. If you're not sure what they are, go to a career counselor. That's what we're here for, to help you interpret those results. Say, well, you know what? It says this, but you know what it is about this that appeals to you? It may not be the forest being out there in boots and that kind of stuff with bears, but I love those kind of things. And as I fast forward to my life now, I've taught so many different things in so many different areas. I could have been a teacher in you know, wildlife or something. Have, you know, walk around with little snakes so people can pet them and that kind of stuff. I would do that. I'm not going to go put out forest fires, but I could do something like that. So find someone to help you understand what your results mean, right? And help you explore. Once you have narrowed that down, then you will go on to research. What are your options? Well, it said forest ranger, it said juggler, it said flamethrower, and clown. So I look at all those different jobs and see what the elements of those jobs are. What environment will I work in? What type of technology would I need to know? Who would I be interacting with? Those type of things to understand, well, I really don't really like working in big, huge crowds, but I do like working one-on-one. So you can start to understand and research what options you have. The most important thing that people sometimes don't do, what is your ability to earn money? They don't always look at what the earning potential is, right? And some people say, well, yeah, I want to be a juggler. Well, you get $5,000 a year. Well, that's not enough to pay your rent, pay your car note, pay your insurance, those kind of things. So you have to look at what your earning potential is, right? Then there's also the possibility, is it something that's going to be in demand in 5 years? You know, is this something that I can look forward to, you know, doing for the next 10 years or so? Or is it slowly decreasing? The need, is it decreasing? So those are some of the things you want to look at when you're doing your research on these different occupations, and that will help narrow down your decision, right? Okay, and then once you've done those things, you make a plan. So next, what we'd like to move on to is, so once you have your interests in mind, what you could do every day and not get bored, right? This is something, and nowadays people aren't retiring in one specific career. People are moving around. So don't feel like if you got into a career, you would be, you know, stuck there for the rest of your life. You might get there and realize, you know, I want to do something else. You can morph into something else. You can use those skills and transfer it to another career, right? That's where we come in again. We help show you where the transferable skills are relevant in other fields where you don't have to take a hit because you're brand new. You want to leverage the skills that you have, leverage the training that you have, and what other industry would be interested in what you have to offer. So that's you know, how you can transition into something else. If money was no object, as I mentioned before, what would you do for free? That's a career that you can possibly, you know, explore. It might be something that, you know, you hadn't thought about. In some cases, people may have worked for a while and they can afford to work for less because their kids are grown, the house is paid for, or whatever. You can transition into something else. And if money is not as pressing as it was, then you might be able to do something you always wanted to do. And And I did mention when you were 10 years old, what were some of the things that you were passionate about? So take the time to imagine your future and then start creating it. So this is where career exploration comes in. Okay, let's move. I want to make sure I didn't miss. So this is where you can find the assessment that I mentioned. It's 5 minutes. And you can go to the website and it is My Next Move. I don't know if you could see it here. mynextmove.org/profiler. mynextmove.org/profiler. And take 5 minutes to do that. And are you able to put that in the chat for our?
Yep, I did.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
You want me to go to the website?
If you could, but that's a screenshot of what they should see. And the interest profiler is made possible by the Department of Labor. So this is your
Mhm.
tax dollars at work.
You said profiler, I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's not my next move.org profiler.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if you go to My Next Move, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner where it says interest, that should take you there also.
Okay, okay, I got it. I'm gonna post it on
If-
the
Thank you. Thank you. I'm not used to having a Vanna.
okay. All right.
Did you find it?
Yep.
Excellent. Now this should take about 5 minutes, about a minute per question. I went through it last night and I did it in 5 minutes. Your familiarity may be a little different, so it may take a little bit. So check that out. Would you like to take the assessment? Oh, excellent. Thank you, Eduardo.
Lady has a question.
Yes, ma'am. Mhm. I'm sorry, say it again. I'll get you some notices. We'll get you before you go. That's what you know you went in. I hope you guys at home are trying to do this as well. This will be a nice time for party music. It's okay.
Linda is here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, 26.
That's it.
Oh, you mean like? Okay. I think we should be like around 4 minutes now. So 1 more minute. Just like tell me that we have 1 more minute. Okay. Okay, ladies and gents, let's start wrapping this up. I'm going to give everybody 1 more minute to complete the interest profiler. Thank you.
If you're not able to finish, remember to write down the web URL so that you can get back to it. But if you forget, my next move, and when you get to that website page, you should see in the upper right-hand corner where it says interest, you can click on that and it'll take you back to this. One of the things I like to remind people is when you're taking this, you should have a present state of mind. If you're frazzled, tired, hungry, aggravated, your results may be different. If you had a bad day at work and your boss got on your nerves, you may say, I never want to work for anybody ever again. No, no, no. And that's not going to be a sincere response, okay? So you would only be lying to yourself. So be as honest as you possibly can when you're taking this profiler. If the results don't look right to you, say, I'll do this again on Saturday. After I had a good night's rest, a good breakfast, sitting in the sun, shining on my face, I'm happy about life. Let me take the interest profiler again. And this is something you're going to do over time. This is not something you do once in your life because your interests change. So if you want to stay on top of what you're really feeling about your career, take this periodically. And as I mentioned, this is provided by the Department of Labor. So there's, and it came from the Holland Code, Holland's theory of work. And if you go to the next slide, Eduardo, this would be the results after you take the test or the assessment. And it'll tell you what the different areas are. Holland's theory of work is a well-known theory developed by Dr. John Holland based on the career choices, satisfaction, and relationships to their personality types. So sometimes you go to the MBA and you'll see somebody in there as nasty as they can be, and you're like, why are they in this job? You really need a new job, right? Because they're just nasty. That was probably not a career they chose. That was probably the career that chose them. They fell into it. A lot of times people say, you should be such and such. Don't listen to those people. Listen to yourself. Take an assessment. Do your own internal search. Don't go by what other people say. Oh, you should be a CNA. You should be an accountant. You should be. Don't let people tell you. I know parents have a habit of doing that when you're little, when you're younger, but make your own, exploration so that you're making decisions for yourself. So as you see, there's different areas. And once you get your results back, it'll explain to you what these different things are. And this is just an excerpt from mine. It's not the whole thing, but it'll have all of the six codes. And this is the one I did last night. And I am always social and artistic, always, throughout my whole life. I taught dance in school. I taught aerobics. I taught ESOL. I taught public schools. I taught people with disabilities how to tie their shoes. I taught people with disabilities and anger management issues how not to flip tables and kick chairs over. Everything I've done, and I worked human resources. And the part that I loved was the onboarding, helping people see where they can go in that company, right? What else did I, and of course, what I'm doing now, workforce development. And I went from human resources into workforce development. I leveraged my skills and moved into another field that used all the skills that I had. And I was still able to do that teaching thing. Because I felt like, man, I'm all over the place before I got into workforce. Like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. And then when I, got deeper into workforce, mind you, I got into workforce in 2003, I think was the first, that's when I did human resources. Then I did that for a while. And then of course we went into a recession and they weren't hiring in that industry or that area anymore. So I ended up in workforce, but I get the same satisfaction because I get to help people get from point A to point B more expediently. So I just help them realize, you know what, you don't have to do that. You can if you want, but this is what other people have done. Well, this is what I've seen, and this is what I know. This is what I've researched. And I help people cut corners. I help them navigate the process. So when you get yours, check it out. Like I said, I'm always artistic, I'm always social. Whatever I do, I have the ability to work with people like this. I have the ability to create PowerPoint lessons like this. I even taught ESOL, so I got to teach and create ESOL lesson plans. So it's what is in me. And that's something that I could do for free. And if my boss is listening, I will not do it for free. However, if I had the choice, this is something like when I retire, I would probably do this and volunteer at community centers and churches and things like that, because this is what I love. And my mother was a teacher, my sister, my cousins, it's what we do in our family. And that's also because sometimes you inherit the aptitudes of your family. And you'll notice that sometimes there's families of nurses, families of teachers, families of artists, because those are the aptitudes and the talents that are hereditary. You can go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, these are the different areas: realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, conventional. And when you get your results, it'll tell you what they are according to what your responses were, right? And you want to choose the top 3 highest scores, and you will get a code. It's called a RIASEC code, which is R for realistic, investigative. So RIASEC, RIASEC. And you want to take the first 3 highest scores that you get, and it'll give you a code. And when you're doing research and you're going on ONET, which is another website that's part of this My Next Move website, it'll tell you when you're looking at different careers, if your code is in there. And they'll say, this is a good career for people who are social, realistic, and artistic, And so you'll know, oh, this is a good job for me. And we'll get into that probably, I think the next workshop. We'll go deeper into how to find this information. So you want to make sure you do your research. And this is an interactive tool. So I'm going to show you, you can go to the next slide and the next one. This is My Next Move, as I said. So you can go, when you get this information, you can go and do some research, right? The first 2 areas, I know what I want to be, right? So you can go there because a gentleman here knows he wants to go into cybersecurity. He's studying it. He has, he's working towards his degree. So he can go in and say, I know I want to be a cybersecurity analyst. He can go in there, pull it up, and it'll give you everything you want to know about that career, everything, and then some. So it'll tell you the tasks, the knowledge, the skills, the abilities, the technology that is hot, how much it pays here in the Metro DC area, how much it pays nationally. Say I want to go to California and live with my cousin, and you go to California, how much can I earn in California? I can go to Bermuda, how much would I earn? So you can look around and see what the local and national, and then you can look into international when you get a little bit more advanced. Again, if you need help with that, that's what we do, right? And then I'm not quite sure, I'll know it when I see it. I know I like teaching. I know I like interacting with people. Maybe I want to do something different. I don't know what it is, but I want to try something different. So you can go through careers. I like IT. I don't know if I have the aptitude for IT because I don't have the patience, but I love computers. I love using them, and what I like to run them. What else is there besides running and creating programs and things? You can teach people. right? You can do quality assurance, right? You could do surveys, research. I don't know. There's all kinds of things. But if I wanted to know, I can look that up there. And then if you get over to the last one that says, I'm not sure, I'm not really sure, it'll just take us to my next move. And it'll take you to that interest profiler. And again, up top, you'll see the icons. You can go to the home screen, and then and you can go to the interest. So this website here, again, like I said, is powered by the Department of Labor and Employment Training Administration. Two government agencies make sure that this information is in here. So you can go to the next slide. So I just kind of went through that. So once you do find this career, once you have taken your assessment and narrowed down industries, you start to look at different careers and you say, okay, I want to go into healthcare. It said I would be a good medical assistant. Well, what do I know about being a medical assistant? What I love about this website is that if you look in the upper top corner, you'll see that it says watch a video. So some people are visual learners. You may just want to see a video real quick, right? You have that option. Then it goes into detail about what they do. And then on the job, what you would encounter. Then it says the knowledge, skills, and abilities that you would need to know. The personality type you need to know. There's personality assessments out there too. And it can say, you are not the person for the MBA. You are not the person to teach public schools. You are not the person to whatever. So the personality assessments are just as important as the interest, but most people start with interest, right? Then it tells you about the technology. So if you see a flame, that means it's a hot commodity. That is important for this industry, that position, I mean. So if you see that, then you look at those and say, oh, I have these. Oh, I know how to do that. Oh, I know how I can get that training. There's so much free online learning nowadays. You can get training almost, to get into any field right there, right? You can learn accounting. You can learn some of these other things. If your budget is limited, you can pick up some of this stuff for free, right? And then it tells you the education level and the outlook. So remember I told you some people, they may just look at the top part and see what they do and skip right down to salaries. That's what I would do. Mm-hmm. I would, because I have people right now that are doing the job that they love. And they're saying, I can't live off of this. And we fought and scrapped to get them in those positions. And I got a phone call this morning. I can't do this anymore. It's not paying my rent. And had they heeded a little bit more what I had suggested, check that out, especially if you have kids and animals. Animals are expensive, So if your dog needs an operation or if they need a treatment or something like that, they're just as expensive as kids. So you have to take all that into consideration. Make a budget. What can I afford to live off of? Can I afford to live off of 40,000? Can I afford to live off of 35? Do I need 60? You should create a budget and find out what you need financially as you're making this decision. And you can get all that information out. As you see down there where it says job outlook, it's telling you locally what the average, the average salary is, what's on the low end and on the high end. So that, and this is a very simplified version of what you can get into on O-Net Online and do a deeper dive, where it just scrolls on with a lot of information. This is a summarized version. I think if you use this one, you can say, okay, I'm thinking about being a medical assistant. Let me just get the gist of it. You get this information, you say, okay, this is a contender. I used to print them up and put them in a file when we used to do everything by paper. And I still do, as you can see. And put it aside. Okay, these are the jobs you're considering. Now go research the salary and do all that other stuff. When they narrow it down, then we'll go to O-Net Online. That gives you a lot more information. And you can really do a deep dive. Okay, so we can go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, knowledge, skills, and abilities. You have videos, you have a summary, you have on the job. And we can skip on to the next one too as well. And I mentioned the outlook. Mm-hmm. So you see, you also have, you can check by state. You can check local salary information. If you also, if you're interested in maybe training or something, you can also access training. You see on the education side, you can see, okay, well, I'm lacking XYZ, let me go over there. But for this particular role, it tells you the level of education that the average person has. So a certificate after high school and a high school diploma or a GED, right? So that helps people make decisions. Some people will say, well, I am willing to go back to school. And then that will give you some information. Oh, I would rather do some certifications. This says I need XYZ certifications to get into this industry. So this is helpful information. So you can move on. Okay, so here we are. We made our plan. I mean, we did the interest profiler. We started to look at the jobs. We analyzed, right? Then you're going to research your options, right? So we can go to the next one. Okay, so now making a plan. Remember what I said. Failing to plan is planning to fail, right? So you need to make a plan. As I said, people pour all kinds of energy into parties and, dinner parties, vacations, what have you. You need to give that same level of interest, that same level of energy to the thing that's going to provide you money for those things. So you need to give it the same amount of attention. So strategies for career planning and growth. Identify a timeline, right? So you've researched if you need training. Well, how long will that training take? Okay, I can get into a certification program here at Montgomery College. Say I want to go into project management. There's 3 requisites. I just did it for my client, so I'm pulling from what I just did. And she needed 3 courses that were prerequisites to the project management, right? So you look at the timeline. Well, this one's being offered there. This one's being offered then, blah, blah, blah. You have your schedule of courses. And so she started in August. By December, she's ready to sit for the certification and be a project manager, right? So that's her timeline just for the education. So you want a short-term goal, you want a long-term goal, and you want to give yourself reasonable amount of time. You heard of SMART goals, right? SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, I was about to say attainable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Those are the acronym for SMART goals. So you want to make sure you're taking all that stuff into consideration. So short-term goals and high impact goals. So the short-term goals, like I said, in the next 1 to 3 months, I can do XYZ. Based on my research, after all I've done, and I know I need these, trainings or so forth, I know that when the semester starts, I can get through these courses by the end of the semester or the period. If you go through workforce development and continuing ed, they have different time start and end times. But make sure that the goals that you're making are impactful, not like buy a typewriter. Oh, I'm sorry, typewriters, do they even have those? I'm sorry. Leave me alone, okay? I'm a product of the 70s. So, so you're thinking about, oh, I need XYZ, not the simple things like, well, I need a pencil. I need a pen. Those are not high impact goals. High impact goals is go meet with a career advisor, go to the college, go speak to someone in financial, management, financial aid, and find out what your options are. Do you qualify for grants? Blah, blah, blah. Those are impact goals. Determine what steps you need to take. So first, I need to research, set up a plan, blah, blah, blah. Second, I need to go and dive into some of the things that's going to make this plan happen. So that is, like I said, connect with somebody at the college, right? And then you also want to think about, okay, I can do this job. These are the companies that would hire me. You can start looking at the companies. And I think I asked you that, did you have an employer in mind while you're in college? Because you want to start to groom yourself for that role, that company. You should have target companies that you would like to work for. Doesn't mean they're going to hire you, but you can set your goals to try to get into that company. Because I suggested, you can, if you're in a company, I have a young lady, she's studying to be a data analyst, right? She's already working in a company. I said, continue to study, but start grooming yourself for the IT department. Go meet somebody in the IT department. Ask them to be a mentor. A lot of times they'll love to be a mentor. Oh, they want me to help, you know, and they will likely, you know, somebody will help you, you know, and meet some people, right? So those are some of the things you can think about as part of your plan. Who do I know? How can I network with people that I know? How do I network with people I don't know? What's the number way to network with people you don't know? I wish I had a prize. I don't have any prizes. Okay, pretend I gave you a prize.
Sometimes I go by the 5 or 10.
I don't know if they can hear him.
Someone 5 feet of me. I ask them how they. So. And reach out to people. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you don't know who you're talking to or who you could be talking to. They could be very influential, right? But the another way, which is very popular, is LinkedIn. You can go to LinkedIn. You can look for people in the field you want to get into. You can send them an email. Hey, I'm trying to get into your industry. I was looking at your profile, I was impressed with what you do. Can you give me any advice? And if they respond, thank them very much, you know, whatever. And you might be able to hit them up at another time, you know, ask them for their advice. Where should I go? A friend of mine, well, actually, she was a guest speaker for one of the training programs I had, became a friend. She said she got started in that industry in IT, going to meetups. And she would just go and hang around the people who were doing the things that she wanted to do. So that's another good way. So also you can go to this website, 5 Steps to a Career Plan. I pulled that information from, and you can check that out. If you need that, you could do a screenshot of your laptop or your phone or something, do a screenshot and save that. But it's 5 Steps to a Career Plan, and it's a video, and you can get some information about that. Hopefully it's still up. Excuse me, you can go to the next slide. So as I was saying, sometimes you'll do the research and you'll find that there's some gaps. They're called skill gaps. When you don't have all the skills they're looking for, that is considered a skill gap, right? So if you were to, like, I don't know, say you're an artist and you've taken some art classes, but you want to do realistic art. So you don't have those classes. You can go in, or that's you know, training. You can find a lot of free online learning that can help fill some of the gaps of the trainings that you don't have. GCF Learn Free, that is an excellent website. That's Goodwill Company Foundation, blah, blah, blah. They have all kinds of learning platforms on there. They have visual, they have videos, they have people who like to read, they like people who like to do hands-on. Same with Allison. And a lot of the free online learning has these, have these type of learning elements, right? Because we're all different kinds of learners. And so on these different websites, you can find some industry specific training, like I don't know Word very well. You can go on there and learn Word. The 2 most common things that I see employers asking for is Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. Mm-hmm. If not both, one or the other, right? So if you're not very familiar with that and you know you have an interview coming up, go on one of these websites, familiarize yourself, or beef up some of the skills that you have so that when you go to the interview, you can speak from a place of knowledge. You know, you can say, well, I'm familiar with Excel. You're not lying, saying, I know Excel, you know, top to bottom, because I'm familiar with Excel. I know how to do blah, blah, blah. I know how these things are done, right? That's a good way to prepare for interviews when you find that you have a skill that they're looking for that you don't have. 2 other websites that are very good is Skill Up Montgomery and LinkedIn Learning. Skill Up Montgomery is made possible by a grant across the United States. I believe over 120 last check, different American Job Centers use Skill Up Montgomery or Skill Up PG or Skill Up Calvert or Skill Up Anne Arundel. And this is also made possible through a government grant. So in some cases, like I said, you may have limited resources and you need to take courses. Your money that you're putting towards courses that you need to have can, go towards that associates or go towards that bachelor's. But there may be little trainings on the side here and there that you can get from some of these, and you can save that money for your degree or your certification, because you don't have to pay to learn how to use Excel. Even on Skill Up Montgomery, they have some IT classes. They have CompTIA courses on there. The one thing about Skill Up Montgomery, it doesn't pay for the exam, but it will give you the training for free. And if you know anything about training, that's the most expensive part, right? And in IT, the higher up you go, the more expensive those exams get. They start out maybe around $200, but when you get high up, like the CCNA and the CISSP, $800, they get expensive, but they're figuring you're earning it, you can afford it, right? But some of the trainings you can get through Skill Up Montgomery and LinkedIn Learning, you can do that online if you have a library card. So you can get access to LinkedIn Learning through Montgomery County Public Library. So you go online with your library card and you can sign up and you can take some of these courses. So that way it makes education affordable, right? You pay for the courses that you can't, or, grant, financial aid, however you do it. You can pay for those courses and you can get some of the peripheral things. Like you might get a scholarship to take A+ and Network+, but you can't take Security+. You might be able to do it on here because CompTIA has their courses on here. Microsoft, Project Management Institute, Society of Human Resources Management. There's so many different courses on there that you can take advantage of. Okay, and so that is some of the free options. So you can go to the next slide. And how am I doing for time?
5.
Okay, cool. Okay, so these are what the websites look like. So we can kind of go through these. So that's what GCF Learn Free looks like. And this is Skill Up Montgomery. And you'll see LinkedIn Learning through Montgomery County Public Libraries. And so when you go to the Montgomery County, put in LinkedIn Learning, and it should take you to any one of these links that'll take you to the learning page. Okay, and then Allison has been around for quite a while. I think this was the first one I've ever become familiar with. This one and GCF Learn Free were the first ones that I really learned about back in 2008, I think it was. Yeah, 8 or 9. Now, you got a plan. You have a vision. You should consider using a vision board. It could be as graphic and it could be as simple as circles and arrows, like up there. So if your goal is training, you can create your bubbles that are activities that you need to engage in order to make your training happen. If it's a job, then it could be getting training. It could be networking. It could be, socializing with people in the industry, blah, blah, blah. So you can create something visual to remind you. It doesn't even have to have words on it. It could just be pictures that remind you, because you don't want anybody to know your business. Come in the house, what you trying to do? So you could just have pictures, and so it could be a vision board for the home and car that you want. And that's your goal. I want to be able to earn enough money and create a career that will help me to be able to buy a home and a car, right? It could be for your home and for your family, spending time with them. It could be something like that. Professional growth, or it could be all of that. It's up to you. Whatever sparks your, I want to say joy, but whatever gets you motivated. You can put that on your refrigerator. You can put that in on your bathroom mirror. You can take a little Post-it with tiny little pictures that you drew. Whatever helps keep you motivated. A vision board helps you keep on track. Okay. There we go. I believe I covered it all. And I didn't run out of time this time.
Thank you so much, Maria, for this wonderful and informative presentation. If we have any questions for the people online, please post them at the chat. I will convey them to Maria. And also we have Kunda on the chat. She may be able to answer some of the questions you may have. But if we have any questions here in the audience, feel free to raise your hand.
Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Should I not beat myself up too much if I don't follow your successful plan? And then I say, well, I'll just wing it. Or if I say, well, I'll give myself another 2 years before I set a vision board or actually start going.
Do what feels right to you. Now, if you have an impending need, then you might want to step up your plan. You might want to step up your plan if you have an impending need, but it's what makes, what works for you, right? If you've never done this process before, I would suggest give it a try because you don't know what you don't know. So give it a try, see what happens, work it through. If you find, and then you're the one who's in control of it. If you think that your goals are too close together, space them out. If you think maybe these are not realistic, I need to be more, you may find things over time. Oh, I need to do it this way, you know? So it's a work in progress. It's something you're going to do for the rest of your career. So, you know, take it as you can and don't feel pressured.
Most successful folks, whenever they have motivational speak, they always go to have a vision board, have a plan. And I feel perhaps I'm a little behind the 8 ball because I'm listening to the all, but I'm not following through. And that's where I'm falling as we started. If you fail to plan, or, you know, if you plan to fail.
And again, that's where we come in. Again, that's where we come in, right? So we're here to help keep you on track. Do you have a question, sir?
Oh, no, do not. I do want to say a comment that I do have a vision board at the house and I use it. I look at it every day and it helps me out a lot. So, you know, just it doesn't have to be typically about your career. It could be about your life goals and stuff like that. So I have done it where I have a vision board where I wanted to buy a house. 4 years ago, I bought a house. This year, I wanted to get a new car. I got a car earlier this year. So it does help you out, and you just walk throughout your house. You have it up on your, you know, you can put it anywhere and you just look at it like, okay, I need to, you know, put things and visualize things, and that can help you out. You can manifest it. So
It does. And it helps keep you on track, you know, because sometimes you don't need to sit down and have a conversation. You could just look at the picture and go, yeah, I know, that's right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You know, so it's whatever works for you and in the pace that you can do it. Because if you overwhelm yourself, you're not going to do anything, right? So take your time. If you need some input, you have career services that you can get through us here. We can meet with you virtually or in person, and we'll give you the link that you can connect with us. Did you have anything you wanted to add or comment?
Okay. I would like to
Okay,
share
thank you.
something. We had a question online, and it was how many target companies should be on your list? And Kunda answered, she suggested between 8 to 10. So with that said, I will like to thank once again Maria for this wonderful presentation.
Thank you, Al. Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
being a great
But
audience.
most importantly, we are very, very excited here at the Hub to announce that we are ready to start taking people for career coaching. And again, absolutely free of charge. And this is, again, thank you with our partnership with Career Catchers. So with that, let me give you some information on how to do this. So this is the website, and I'm going to give you the QR code to take you here. But this is where you will go and start an intake form with Career Catchers. So actually, this is going to start on our next Career Catchers meeting, which will be on November 7th. So the again, the QR code that I will share with everybody in a minute will take you here. Here, you can choose between either an in-person meeting here at the Hub right after we have our workshop. Again, the next one will be on November 7th, or you can also, if you cannot come in person for the people in line, you can schedule a virtual one, just like you were able to attend the workshop online, the career coach will connect to you via Zoom. So let's say that you want to come here in person, you will choose here. And as you can see, you will have to choose the next date, which is not in October, but November. As you can see, November 7 will be our next time. You will choose a time here from the time block. And then you will have to complete some information here, okay? Some questions and some personal information. This will help the career coach have an idea and to have a more productive meeting. If for some reason these times, this date is not convenient for you, if you click here on read more, you can send us an email, either to ccignitehub@careercatchers.org or ignitehub1 Montgomery College edu, stating what will be the best time, and we'll try to work out with you. Maybe a career coach will contact you. And again, this is, we're very, very proud and we're very excited. Again, this is absolutely and completely free to you and you, you know, the members here, I'm sorry, the audience here, both in person and online. You're the first ones to be offered this. And with that said, let me share that QR code so you can go and it will take you to this website. We are in the process of updating also the career coaches page at the Ignite Hub website with this information, and that will be coming shortly in the next few days. But in the meantime, I'll share with you the career. Sorry, one moment. The people in line can already see it, but now our audience here as well can see it. So if you go there, that will take you definitely to the website that I just told you. So you can either mark it, take a picture, or anything else. With that, I don't know if Kunda has any comments or final closing statements. And before we adjourn, I would like to thank you on behalf of the Ignite Hub for attending this workshop, and we hope to see you on the next one.
Yep, we hope to see you at the next one. Thanks for attending.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks everybody for attending. Have a wonderful day. All right.